Have you ever pondered what makes the Battle of ADWA a turning point in African history? Into the late 19th century, a time that saw the African continent swept up in a whirlwind of colonization. European powers, hungry for resources and territory, were carving up Africa into spheres of influence. Yet one nation stood resolute and independent amidst this onslaught: Ethiopia. Seated in the heart of the Horn of Africa, Ethiopia was a beacon of sovereignty and resistance. The nation's independence was fiercely guarded by its determined leaders and the spirit of its people. This fierce determination would soon be tested by Italy, a latecomer to the colonial race, eager to stake its claim. At the heart of this impending conflict was the Treaty of Wuchale, signed between Italy and Ethiopia in 1889. Crafted in two languages, it bore a stark discrepancy. The Italian text suggested Ethiopia was a protectorate of Italy, while the Amharic version stated otherwise, maintaining Ethiopia's autonomy. This disparity set the stage for the conflict that was to come. On one side, standing tall, was Emperor Menelik. A unifier, Menelik was ready to defend Ethiopia's sovereignty at all costs. On the other side was General Oreste Baratieri, leading the Italian forces, underestimating the Ethiopian resolve and overconfident about his modern armament. The scene was a complex tapestry of political intrigue, clashing ambitions, and a struggle for dignity independence. Ethiopia, an independent African nation, was about to challenge a European power, defying the narrative of the colonial era. This prelude to the Battle of ADWA is a testament to the spirit of resistance and the fight for sovereignty. It underlines the importance of understanding our shared history and the forces that have shaped it. It reminds us of the power of unity, strategy, and determination in the face of adversity. The stage is set, the players are ready, and the Battle of ADWA is about to unfold. If you're enjoying this content, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more fascinating insights into Ethiopian history. Imagine thousands of soldiers clashing on the battlefield, a fierce fight for freedom and sovereignty. This was the scene that unfolded on the first day of March in 1896, at the Battle of ADWA. The Battle of ADWA was a monumental event, not only for the people of Ethiopia but for all of Africa. It was a day of courage, strategy, and determination. The Ethiopian forces, under the command of Emperor Menelik II, were pitted against the well-equipped Italian army, led by General Oreste Baratieri. Yet despite the odds, they stood their ground, ready to fight for their homeland. The strategy was simple yet effective. The Ethiopian forces divided themselves into three main groups, each with its own mission. One group was to engage the enemy directly, while the other two were to encircle the Italians, cutting off their escape routes. This was a classic pincer movement, a strategy that has been used in countless battles throughout history. As the battle raged on, the Ethiopians used their intimate knowledge of the terrain to their advantage. They maneuvered through the rugged landscape, launching surprise attacks and ambushing the Italians. The Italians, unfamiliar with the terrain and taken aback by the ferocity of the Ethiopian forces, found themselves in a situation they had not anticipated. The battle was fierce, and the stakes were high. For the Ethiopians, this was not just a battle for their land, but for their freedom and sovereignty. They fought with everything they had, and in the end, their determination and bravery paid off. A victory on the battlefield often echoes far beyond the war zone. So what were the implications of the Battle of ADWA? The aftermath of the Battle of ADWA held profound implications for both Ethiopia and Italy. For Ethiopia, it was a demonstration of strength, resilience, and unity. This battle, fought on the first day of March in 1896, marked the first time an African nation successfully repelled a colonial power. The victory at ADWA affirmed Ethiopia's sovereignty, allowing it to remain the only African country never colonized during the scramble for Africa. The impact on Italy, on the other hand, was a stark contrast. The defeat was a blow to Italy's imperial ambitions. Italy had hoped to establish a foothold in Africa, but the Battle of ADWA marked a significant setback. The defeat led to political upheaval in Italy, including changes in leadership and colonial policies. But the implications of this battle reach even further. The victory at ADWA reverberated across the African continent, inspiring other African nations in their struggles against colonial rule. It was a beacon of hope, a symbol that resistance was not in vain. It fostered a sense of Pan-African solidarity and served as a catalyst for the later African resistance movements. Moreover, ADWA altered the perception of African nations in the international arena. It challenged the prevailing narrative that African nations were inferior and could not stand up to European powers. The victory was a testament to the bravery, strategic brilliance, and indomitable spirit of the Ethiopian people. In essence, the Battle of ADWA was more than a military victory. It was a defining moment in history, a turning point that shifted the dynamics of power and resistance. It was a victory against the odds, a testament to the spirit of defiance and resilience. It was a message to the world that freedom and sovereignty were values worth fighting for. The Battle of ADWA was not just a military victory, it was a symbol of hope and resistance. Over a century later, the Battle of ADWA still resonates, but how has it shaped modern Ethiopia and Africa? The Battle of ADWA, fought in the highlands of northern Ethiopia, was more than just a single event in history. It laid the groundwork for a nation's identity, sparked a beacon of hope for a continent under the shadow of colonialism, and challenged global perceptions of Africa. In the wake of the battle, Ethiopian nationalism blossomed. The victory at ADWA became a powerful symbol of resistance and self-determination, a cornerstone in the foundation of Ethiopia's national identity. Even today, the Battle of ADWA is commemorated annually, a testament to its enduring significance in shaping the country's collective consciousness. But the influence of ADWA wasn't confined to Ethiopia's borders. It rippled across the continent, igniting sparks of inspiration for African independence movements. ADWA was a defiant proclamation that Africa could stand tall against colonial powers. It was a victory that said, "Africa is not for conquest." This message resonated deeply with those fighting for freedom and galvanized movements from Algeria to South Africa. ADWA also had a profound impact on the global stage. It shattered the stereotype of Africa as a continent ripe for exploitation. Here was an African nation, not only resisting colonialism, but defeating a European power in open battle. The win at ADWA challenged the world to rethink its assumptions about Africa, fostering a new respect for the continent's strength and resilience. The legacy of ADWA isn't just about the past. It's a living, breathing part of Ethiopia and Africa today. It's in the pride of the Ethiopian people, in the spirit of African independence, and in the global recognition of Africa's capabilities. The echoes of ADWA continue to reverberate, reminding us of a pivotal moment in African history. The Battle of ADWA was not just a victory on a battlefield, it was a declaration of African dignity, resilience, and autonomy that continues to inspire generations. Every historical event carries with it a cloud of myths and misconceptions. So what are some common myths about the Battle of ADWA? Like a foggy morning, history is often shrouded in a veil of myths, and the Battle of ADWA is no exception. Let's slice through the fog and debunk some of these misconceptions together. Myth number 1. Ethiopia had a smaller army. It's a widely held belief that the Ethiopian forces were significantly outnumbered by the Italians. However, historical records tell a different tale. The Ethiopian army was, in fact, larger than the Italian forces, consisting of about 100,000 well-armed men compared to the Italians' 80,000. Next is the myth that foreign powers played a significant role in Ethiopia's victory. Many believe that Russia and France were instrumental in assisting Ethiopia's fight against Italy. Although Ethiopia did have diplomatic relations with these countries, there is no concrete evidence of their direct involvement in the conflict. Ethiopia's victory was primarily due to its strategic and the valor of its people. Another pervasive myth is the notion that Ethiopia's victory was a fluke. This couldn't be further from the truth. The Battle of ADWA was not won by chance. It was the result of meticulous strategy, superior knowledge of the terrain, and the sheer determination of Emperor Menelik II and his forces. The Ethiopian army's victory was no accident. It was testament to their bravery and tactical prowess.